Our nuclear revenge. First of two stories. I'm trained to be an asshole, you are not. Removed from Pro Revenge, told to post here. This concluded about 3 months ago. First off, let me say I have PTSD from 2 tours. This isn't a brag or flex, but any vet with PTSD will vouch that it is very hard to let assholes walk away. Because of this stupid shit I can only really work jobs alone now. I've been working a while at cleaning stores after hours. Not surface cleaning but checking areas that mice have been, etc. Dirty jobs, but the pay more than makes up for it. One day I'm having some considerable back pain, so my wife, Millen's, will cover for me. I get a call a couple hours later from my wife complaining about the manager. Now, I've worked retail before and I know it sucks, so I tend to give some leeway when non-retail folks say someone's being mean versus not in the mood for BS. I hear he yelled at them when they walked in that the store was closed. Okay buddy, they used a key, chill. Then he got upset that he didn't know there was a cleaning that day, BS. I wrote and distributed the schedule 3 weeks prior, then tried to tell them where to clean. I have a contract, and your employees' duties aren't included in it. I rolled my eyes at the complaint. I admit it. Managers suck, and I didn't think this was a big deal, just some incompetent grams. Then I get a call a half hour later. GM was making some gender-based jokes to his all-male staff. Hey, you put in on your makeup, you need a tampon etc. while they were shutting down. Okay, that's pretty tasteless, but for me it's hearsay. Then I'm told that on his way out of the parking lot, they saw the GM try to open my car's door. Insert PTSD here. I called the store the next day, asked to talk to the manager on duty. I have a pretty civil convo, highlighting my concerns about the manager paying attention to his schedule and contracts. I mentioned there was some witness unprofessionalism, but that's not for me to correct. Mind you, the convo is going very professionally up to this point. When I mention the car, guy's whole attitude changes. He gets very vocal and very defensive, cutting me off and raising his voice. Before I realize, we are yelling at each other. I hang up and talk to my wife. I describe the guy based off of his voice and accent, and my wife is certain that I'm speaking to the GM. I'll call him E. I call back and simply say I want to know what authority you had to try to get in my car. He starts to play dumb until I name the security company that patrols and monitors his lot, shared lot with other businesses, and I can request footage through the police. He says he doesn't have to explain himself to me and he hangs up. Oh fuck no. I call back a final time. I say if we can't work this out I have to get your boss involved. Fine, go ahead and call me when you do. He hangs up. Insert revenge. I won't go into how, but I will explain what happened over the next few weeks. Remember, I have a key to this store and I'm still able to show up on contracted days. E's handwritten statement about the argument goes missing. Not a huge loss, the thing was 90% lies to get ahead of what he did. Find multiple disciplinary notes that all show that E, as all of his employees seem to call him, loved to write up all his employees for frivolous shit. This is a common tactic by weak managers as insurance for when employees complain about them. These also go missing. A file is found with many complaints about the store and interactions between E and customers. Copies are made. E's business starts to get multiple 1-star Google reviews from various accounts. Some of the reviewers post pictures of his store's mouse infestation and product damaged by little teeth that he leaves on the shelf. Let me tell you, seeing mouse shit next to food does wonders for your Google page. 2 anonymous complaints to the city about the mouse infestation within the store, with pictures. None of which match the ones I sent to my bosses. 1 complaint to the city from an employee that cites a ton of safety violations within the store. Then mentions how bad the mouse infestation has gotten and that the city should inspect and make sure they ask for proof of an exterminator. There is none. Poor gal was begging. Her name even matched an employee's name. Fancy that. Random occult symbols begin to appear in his work journal, hidden among things he has already written. To clarify, this is because I could recall the symbols. It point wasn't for the occult, it was so things would show up in his personal journal that he didn't write. His boss's boss. Contact info hanging in office. Received an email detailing his unprofessionalism. gender-based harassment, and attempt to get into a vehicle that wasn't his. I also mentioned how many violations I saw as I was cleaning: broken equipment, safety hazards, lack of proper cleaning supplies, chemicals over pet food, etc. I even tried to compromise and said if they can provide a policy that says he could check my vehicle without security or law enforcement, then I'd retract my complaint. Otherwise, every scheduled cleaning that he is still there for, I'd cancel and send them a fee. Suddenly, there is a shift in the store. I still go much later to avoid people, but it is much cleaner. There are even enough cleaning supplies for the store to function. There are less passive-aggressive notes everywhere. Curious about it, I go in the office and see there is definitely a change. The complaint file is shrunk down and the office is cleaner. Whoever is boss now sure seems like a nice lady. He receives a text from a number he won't be able to call back. Have you learned your lesson yet? His full name? Or do I need to take your next job from you too? The end. Edit. This wasn't just some random guy that happened to piss me off. I read the other Google reviews and the office complaints. He was by far the biggest ass I've ever seen in management, and further digging made it clear that he, a second manager, also responsible for a filthy store I clean, and their direct manager were buddies. Simply complaining would have resulted in nothing, clearly. Hence me going even higher. The other stores I clean, about a dozen other locations, are nowhere nearly as bad. Every shred of evidence uncovered showed that this dude just loved to abuse the shit out of his position. I have no regrets, no saying. Edit 2. Since some people have very low reading comprehension, let me spell this out. You cannot act on words. Watch any bodycam video. The cop explains to whoever assaults that words may hurt but you can't act on them. Once I had something concrete, footage of vehicle access. I had my golden ticket. Any of you mad I didn't jump to my wife's defense over words are just as jovial as the manager. And when my wife told me, she wasn't crying or scared or anything, she was pissed and annoyed too. She knew I couldn't do anything about the comments. Why can't some of you? Edit 3. Having a PTSD episode does not mean I am suddenly back in the shit. This is a common misconception. Not all PTSD manifests the same. What it means for me is I enter a mindset where the opponent is an enemy, not a GM or shitty driver or rude passerby, and I have to efficiently and effectively destroy them in a way that keeps my hands clean. Final fucking edit. This wasn't about the car. This was about what one man was comfortable doing to a stranger because he thought he could get away with it. The car was just evidence I could actually work with. For those pissed I didn't white knight my wife, she cared less about the words than some of you all did because she isn't a fucking child. Before we get to the second story, please press the red subscribe button below if you're enjoying this so far. Disrespect me? I'll ruin your whole damn career. TLDR. New boss decided to put me in my place. I decided that my place was somewhere else and that hers was in the unemployment line. So my old boss, beloved by all, left the company last year. While they were trying to find a replacement, upper management decided that the person in charge of another department should be our boss, for the time being, of course. This person, let's call her Dina, does not have a single iota of what anyone on this team does. Nor does she want to learn what we do. Fine, whatever, just let me do my work, get my money, and leave me alone. This issue comes in when she suddenly decides that we are disrespecting her with everything we do. Not early enough to a meeting. 15 minutes is her latest earliest. Disrespect. Have to step away to use the restroom? Disrespect. Take your PTO that's offered by the company? Disrespect. Finally, I have enough and start documenting every instance, with proof and witnesses, into a massive Excel sheet. At this point, sure it's annoying and I'm passively looking for new work, but I've dealt with worse. The breaking point for me came during my yearly review. This is the first and, hopefully, only time I've ever been put on a pit plan. I was told repeatedly that I was lazy and disrespectful, despite several clients providing positive feedback and me working until 22h most nights. But I keep quiet, I toe the line, until I have a new job. Then, I let the floodgates open. Now, something important to note is that while our former boss was great, we weren't all going to quit in solidarity with her. But me? Well, that's a bit of a different story. In addition to my job, I also worked to make my co-workers' jobs easier too. I was kind of the glue holding that entire team together. So when I quit, everyone else on my team did as well. And what did our team do, you might ask? Well, we supplied a service that brought in the majority of the revenue. With no one to supply the service, the business would head towards bankruptcy. Back to the story. When I put in my resignation, I decided to include the spreadsheets to provide further insight as to why I was leaving. And to top it all off, I decided to BCC the CEO. He and I are pretty close and he's told me on multiple occasions that he would do anything to keep me employed there. When he found out about Dina's antics, he held true to his word. Asked if he should fire Dina. Now, Dina may be a dick, but she has young kids and I'm not a dick. So I told him no, but if anyone else leaves because of her, then he should rethink her employment. Well, my last day comes and goes, and the rest of the team puts in their resignations, effective immediately, citing disrespect from Dina specifically. With no team to manage, CEO decides that Dina no longer has a place at the company and decides to fire her with no severance. How do I know? Dina decided to spam call me for several days. But my new fancy job is at a law firm and I was able to get one of them to draft up a cease and desist. Haven't heard a peep since and now I'm just enjoying my new gig, Dina free. Thanks for watching. Please press the like button if you enjoyed and the notification bell next to the subscribe button to never miss another video. Let me know your thoughts below. Bye.